Hello, and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist Cal-Lady spinster, and today we're going to talk about Biblical Femininity Bootcamp. Say that 5 times fast. I've done 2 videos on BFB so far, one for the 12 days of Tradmus and also one last summer because she so kindly gave us examples of what submission looks like. And for anyone who needs a refresher or who doesn't know who she is, BFB runs a Instagram account, which is also apparently a Titus 2 ministry, and she focuses on Christian femininity in a feminist world. Unsurprisingly, she's posted a few things that I want to talk about, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. Long-term menstrual suppression via birth control is the largest uncontrolled medical experiment on women in history. Elizabeth Kisling, PhD. Dear feminists, this is toxic patriarchy, by the way. I don't know why everyone keeps fighting for it like it helps women when it doesn't. The fact that the pill exists is not patriarchy. And yes, I see you there, trying to prefix toxic onto something that is always toxic. Now, the fact that all our birth control options are various levels of bad could, however, be ascribed to patriarchy and how women's concerns aren't taken or treated seriously. In my own experience, the pill is thrown at women without any real efforts to understand the underlying issue causing the problem, or even fully understanding what the problem is. Also, I'm sure BFB knows that the pill is used for many things besides birth control, so yes, it does help women. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate her dear feminists. When Elizabeth Kisling, the woman quoted, is a professor of women's studies and a writer at Miss Magazine. Congratulations, BFB, you've agreed with a feminist. Really breaks my heart to see FB comments in a Christian group. Woman, my husband disrespects me by saying my staying home is basically nothing. Comments, tit for tat, show him Dave Ramsey spreadsheets because you are valuable. Leave the house for a couple hours unannounced when he gets home and see how he likes being a solo parent. Marriage counseling, convince him how wrong he is. On and on. Whoa. He doesn't need spreadsheets or revenge or disrespect back. These are prime examples of the odious, insulting, nagging, contentious women of Proverbs. Not to mention that no Christians should have a revenge mindset, but certainly it is not the way a wife can win her husband. Specific for such a woman, yes, staying home is very valuable, monetarily, emotionally, spiritually. But why are there arguments where this gets tossed in? Why are you arguing at all, or frequently as it came across? Is the house always a mess? Is the child not disciplined? Does he walk in the door to a frazzled, anxious woman handing him the child? Does she support him, love him, respect him, compliment him, have good sex, make the home a sanctuary how he likes it? If she's not doing these things, it's very easy for a man to say her work at home is nothing, because these are important home things that she is failing at in his eyes. If you disrespect your husband, deflate his dreams, complain about his child, refuse sex, he does not care if you want to homeschool and the garbage is always taken out and there's healthy kale salad on the table. Your priorities need evaluating. To sum it up, if you're doing all the Chapter 31 things and all the other yucky things, you likely won't get praised for the good. Don't be surprised when your good efforts aren't respected when you drag them through mud. So basically, you better do all your housework and keep any complaints or issues internal, because if you do offer complaints or criticism, everything else you've done will be dismissed and that will have been your own fault. Also, why does a woman have to win her husband, but he doesn't have to win her? Anyway, let me know in the comments if you think BFB actually enjoys her Christian group, or if she's just there to judge. Not all women are meant to have kids. Actually, God designed all women with ovulation capacity, so yes, that was the original plan. Now, after the fall, things go wrong, society destroys marriage, bodies don't work, and Satan has planted many seeds to cause people not to want kids. Of course, God doesn't allow or cause every single woman to bear biological children, but that is not an excuse for the deplorable lack of children being born to Christian couples. Check out the birth rates. The earth is dying, the economy is in ruins, so many issues stem from low birth rates. The earth is dying because of low birth rates? Are we just making up our own science now? And I have to say, it's so weird to me when a uber Christian gets upset about low birth rates because of the economy. Well, if capitalism is that great, we'll adapt and figure it out. And in the meantime, don't try to guilt trip people into having kids they don't want. The fact remains that most Christians, or any human, for thousands of years have been married, and most of those couples have children. Plain and simple. It's a very new and recent idea that getting married and having kids is super optional and something to really think super hard about and make your own path in life and be different than the norm. But it's 2022. It's no longer radical to not have kids. That's why most mothers are told they are too young, wasting time, talents, job skills, don't really do anything, etc. It's not edgy to not have kids. The world loves that. It's humanistic, satanistic, feministic. The highest forms of false worship are self-idolizing and child sacrifice. Loving children, even if you never have any and aren't meant to or physically can't, is the very heart of God. This has not been radical for thousands of years until the modern era. Do you think it would blow her mind to know that birth control wasn't invented in the 60s? Ever since humanity began, people have been trying to prevent pregnancy. Let's not rewrite history and pretend that those who came before eagerly anticipated and loved every child. That was not the reality for thousands of years, and we should all be grateful that the world has changed so that children can be eagerly anticipated and loved. As for everything else she wrote, it's rubbish. Not having children is not child sacrifice. All I did was search on Instagram child-free. All these were in the top 50 results. It's not a fringe thing. Satan has really tricked people into using their God-given instincts for worshiping the creation, animals in this case, instead of the creator. People want the fun and happy parts without the hard parts. You don't have to continuously become a better person for a dog or teach it things of eternal weight. But on the other hand, the irony abounds. Dogs and cats have become the ultimate replacement for expensive kids. They turn right around and pay for daily doggy daycare, pet health insurance and medication, food, outfits, toys, Christmas photos, play dates, dog sitters, home monitors to watch them while out of the house, or the extra expense of taking them on vacation with them. I don't need kids to have meaning in my life is code for, I'll just get another small cute thing that gives my life meaning. Is this restaurant dog friendly? Can I bring my dog to this dinner party? How dog friendly is this neighborhood? It's not wrong to have a dog, and certainly if you have one you should treat it well, but do you see the bait and switch? The temporal and fleshly for the eternal? Choosing comfort and pleasure over investing in the next generation and eternity? Choosing a life companion that only serves them and their own desires? Dogs used to be on a rope in the yard. They got table scraps, not fresh whatever, delivered to the door. They were not family babies. They were for work, not a purse accessory. It's not a coincidence that the child-free movement is full of dog moms and cat moms. Mom literally implies there's a child. So, are they really child-free? Are they saving money? Are they satisfied with their purpose in life without a tiny mammal to take care of around the clock? Doesn't seem like it. The judgment is so strong in this post. Would Jesus really approve? But yes, my 2 cats are less expensive than kids, and I think she already knows that. My cats don't need clothes, they don't take any extracurriculars, they'll never need a tutor or driving lessons or a car or college, they'll never break a law and need to be bailed out of jail. I do buy them toys and food, but compared to human toys and food, it's not nearly as expensive. And though a fair amount of people don't have kids because of the expense, that's not the only reason. So for the next few posts, we have some answers from a Q&A. The first 2 BFB herself answered, and the last 2 her husband answered. I feel like the husbands of these submissive wives are, interestingly enough, usually in the background, so I was very curious to see how he would answer these questions. Question. Husband spends so much money. Any advice on how to manage finance? I'm a Sam, he makes the money. Should I even be bothered? Answer. It probably seems very hard to not be bothered by it because as a woman, you want to feel secure and like your provider is responsible. But we're not the provision checkers. I used to worry a lot, also I like math and finance in general. But once I just stopped paying attention to the details, I found stress I didn't know I had melted away. Definitely pray he has long-term plans and vision, and God helps him be wise with it, but it's ultimately his job. Not because he's the one who makes the money in a paycheck, but because he is the head of the family. That's it? Don't worry about it and just pray? Of course she's worried. She's entirely dependent on this man, and he's spending irresponsibly. And there's no suggestion for her to become more involved in their finances so she can see if he's really spending so much that she needs to be worried. He's the leader of their home. She has no business knowing their financial situation. Question. How to try to get husband to pick up after himself? Answer. You can't. That's life, honey. Hot take. Treating men like children is not respecting them. BFB said this in her submission post as well. You can't make a man clean up after himself, and she did tell people to think of their husbands as children to soothe any irritation that may arise by being treated like a maid. I really don't think that's healthy, nor do I think that won't lead to resentment. But hey, so long as they don't get a divorce, right? The next 2 posts are answered by BFB's husband.
Question. I'm a 20-year-old female and want to marry and have kids. What do husbands want in a mom? Answer. He says nurturing, someone that will honor their kid's father, practical homekeeping skills, putting the marriage above the kids, having a heart to teach the children, mindset of being the keeper and manager of his home and his kids, straight priorities of God first, then husband second, then children.
Okay. But why was the emphasis placed on his home and his children?
Question. Is it okay for a wife to ask her husband for help with housework? Nicely, of course. Answer. He says, depends. It should be the exception to the rule. Of course, ask, but not all husbands are strong enough to say no when they need to. It can put a potentially weak husband in a possibly compromising situation. However, as the leader, it's his job to make sure your people have good systems. Help them make systems, work the system, change the systems as needed so he can be free to do what other things he needs to do.
Helping with the housework in his home would put a man in a compromising situation? You know, from BFB, I get a strong passive-aggressive vibe when she speaks of her husband, and I think I understand why that is now. But anyway, your people, systems, it sounds more like he's talking about a business than his family. And there we are. And you know, this really didn't make me think submissive wife life is all that great. BFB sure does come off as smug though, and I'm really not sure why she takes other people's decisions and actions so personally. Just because someone lives differently from you doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong or that they're doing something wrong. And that's it for this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I would like to thank my patron, and if you would like to help support the channel, my Patreon is linked below along with my socials. Have a great day, night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and fade to cats.